tonight. Would you? Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes. Will you state your name?
Tom Cassette.
Tom Cassette. Do you have any others? Right. Thank you, Tom, for your service. Appreciate that. All right, we'll call the meeting to order with a pledge. We have the flag over here, please. Attention, salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Well, we welcome you to our monthly meeting. We are here to accomplish the business of schools for the sake of our students. We do want to hear from our citizens. There's time for public comment prior to action items on the agenda. We ask speakers identify themselves and their home district. We also ask their comments are limited to 3 minutes in order to provide equity to all speakers and to ensure our meeting is reasonable in length. If you have more information that can be summarized in 3 minutes, please leave behind materials for the board's review. The moderator will ask you to conclude your remarks as time has elapsed. If you have any questions during the session, you may ask for clarification from your school board member or a school administrator after the meeting is over. Thank you for coming tonight. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda this evening? We have a motion from Ms. McCool. Second from Mr. Grove. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. And so ordered. And we get to have a report from Ruth. Ruth, do you want to come join us?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Come. Ms. Cassette. I should call you by your proper name, Ruth Cassette.
Thank you.
Hey, Ruth, you're here until the end of the year, and then there's a change, right?
I know. I was thinking about that here. Like, I'm not sure if December is my last one or
Yeah,
January
December,
is.
probably.
I
Maybe
was
you'll
thinking
come and
about
do a
that.
handoff or something.
In January is usually
Like a
introduce
handoff?
the new person.
I remember that when
Yeah, yeah.
Miss Natalie Campbell introduced me. So I was thinking about that. I was like,
Isn't it
oh, this is
fast?
going to be my second to
So
last
fast.
one. I know. I was talking about that with my dad on the way into school this morning. Like, yeah, this is going to be my second to last one, maybe third to last if I'm at January. But time has
So
truly
fast. No, no.
gone by very
You
quickly.
Tell us. Shoot me.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. So with that said, good evening, esteemed members of the school board, teachers, staff, and everyone else in attendance. As student liaison, I'd like to give a quick report. As for our recent happenings, we have a lot going on in sports. That isn't to say that we have many items, rather that we have very monumental items going on. Mainly that fall sports have largely finished up and winter sport tryouts are beginning this week. We've had some today, we've had some yesterday, and in fact our cross country team went to the state level this year. And as I believe, I'm not exactly sure, but I think they got either 5th or 7th place in the state, which is an incredible achievement. 7th? Perfect, okay. Incredible achievement, especially because they've gone to state so many times over the years and are continuing their track record. Recently, as for our NHS, we had our monthly meeting and we agreed to do a Thanksgiving food drive, which I will mention in my future happenings section. But recently we did the coffee cart, which a lot of juniors took on for the first time actually. Generally the seniors do it as they have more experience with it. However, due to senior meetings, college information sessions, and like some of the juniors were able to get a taste of that for the first time, is a small little service opportunity that we can do in school just to help improve the days of the teachers here and those who may just want some coffee. Like they might not be teachers, maybe at the front office or in the gym or something like that. So that was very fun. As for our profile of graduate team, we recently had our senior mock interviews. Unfortunately, I was not able to be there because I was out sick. But I heard from some of my friends, I believe it was with a certain English class in the first semester, that they actually really liked it, and they had said, like, wow, I didn't actually think this is what an interview would be like, but I'm really glad that I could know that, so that when actual interviews come up, I have a little basis to go off of. Also, as I may have said, our Virginia College Application Week has finished. So that was a week in which multiple students could, thank you, it's just a small thing, thank you for that. Where multiple students could apply to colleges in Virginia without necessarily having to pay application fees. They're provided with a fee waiver for the week, typically either for VCAW or VCAW 2025. And with that, students were able to apply to, I believe, around 30 participating colleges without having to pay an application fee, which saved them hundreds of dollars. I think close to 20 or maybe 30 seniors applied to a lot of colleges with their fee waivers during college application week. And of course, not all the applications for all the colleges were sent in, given that some have chosen to do regular decision versus early action or early decision, which are other college admission plans. But that was very helpful, and we are incredibly grateful to our college advising corps advisor, Ms. Wiggins, for having orchestrated that. Her affiliation with the college advising corps was the entire reason that, we had the ability to have the fee waivers in the first place. So that was incredibly nice to hear. As for other matters, our recent stuff that we had in the past month was our Start With Hello campaign on October 17th, which was an anti-bullying campaign for more kindness and inclusion in our schools. And the peer mentors went to the elementary school and had lunch with the younger kids to kind of just talk to them about that and like, hey, these are your resources if you're being bullied, tell some people, etc. On October 22nd, we had Unity Day, so wearing orange in a show of support, like, hey, this is our school, let's present a united front, let's wear orange today. On October 23rd, it was our underclassmen photo day, and I believe not long after that, I cannot remember the exact date, I believe it was either the 24th or the 26th, we had our 12th grade voter registration. So the Rappahannock County voter registrar came out to the school, gave a presentation to the 12th graders, and actually helped some of them register to vote. I actually know quite a few people who, for the first time, voted in last week's gubernatorial election for the very first time. And that was really great to see how helping young adults actually start to really become part of their community and starting to fulfill their civic duty, as some of them put it. So that was a very wonderful opportunity. Also, our Trades Academy for next semester has been confirmed, and they are offering HVAC or plumbing. Applications are now open for seniors, which is very nice to hear about. And Future Educator Academy applications are, I believe, open as well. I'm not quite sure when they close, but I know that so far it seems to have been quite a popular program. So I would be surprised if they didn't get many participants. And also the class of 2030 had their fall goodies fundraiser, which was a good thing so that they could gather more money for the class, which will eventually go to class events, their senior trip, and other things. Also, last but not least for recent happenings, we had our Veterans Day Assembly today. I saw many of you there today, so that was absolutely wonderful to be able to recognize our veterans. My dad was there, so that was fun to see. And thank you for being there and for helping organize that. That was a very good way, I believe, to help interact with the community and really recognize the impacts of those who have served in uniform for our country. So thank you to that for those of you who were there. That was amazing. As for our future happenings, we have some sports, which I might read off the list. It's a bit lengthy, but as for our winter sports tryouts, on November 10th, 11th, and 12th, JV and varsity boys and girls basketball will have their tryouts, as well as middle school and varsity sideline cheer. On November 10th, 12th, and 14th, varsity wrestling will have their tryouts. On November 11th and 13th, varsity indoor track will have tryouts. On November 13th, 14th, and 17th, middle school girls and boys basketball will have their tryouts. And for Scholastic Bowl, people that are interested are asked to contact Mr. Nazer at the email account that was provided to them in a graphic by provided none other than by Ms. Atkins. Speaking of Quiz Bowl, we recently had a scrimmage against Blue Ray High School, which all four games, we had 2 teams, all 4 games were won very easily. And our official season will be starting, I say our because I'm a member of the Quiz Bowl team, let me clarify that. Our official season will be starting next Monday on November 17th with a home match against Stonewall Jackson High School with 2 matches starting at 5 o'clock and 5:45. So shameless plug for Quiz Bowl. If you would like to be there, that would be awesome, an amazing show of support. So we are very much looking forward to that. As for National Honor Society, our next meeting will actually be November 14th, this Friday. And we are organizing a Thanksgiving food drive, which would be canned, non-perishable food drives that can be dropped off at either the Rappahannock County Library or the Rappahannock County High School did I say Rappahannock County Library? I meant Rappahannock County High School Library or Rappahannock County High School front office. I apologize for that. And that'll be from November 17th to 21st. And I'm almost done, not quite, but our profile of graduate team, our college overnight trip, which is a wonderful opportunity for seniors to be able to tour 3 schools that are slightly out of range for a one-day field trip. That will be on November 19th and 20th, and the schools being toured will be Christopher Newport University, the College of William & Mary, and Virginia Commonwealth University, all of which have proven incredibly popular to students who want to apply there. And in other matters, we have some fundraisers going on. Our FFA and Class of 2026 fruit sale, so the proceeds will go towards both. FFA will take on the Adopt a Family Community Service Project, which spreads holiday cheer to local families all around the county each December. And it will also go to the Class of 2026 in funding their senior trip and a potential trip in the spring to King's Dominion. Also, the Class of 2026 will be having a pizza fundraiser, which goes again toward the same things that I mentioned earlier. And last but never least, tomorrow at Mountain Vista Governor School, that is at Laurel Ridge Community College, there will be a prospective student visit. So students who are thinking, hey, maybe I should try out this governor's school thing. Maybe it'll be a good way for me to broaden my horizons and have more challenging classes and also meet a bunch of other people. So students will have an opportunity to do that, and we are very much looking forward to all of these opportunities. So, thank you. Are there any questions?
Great job with your speech today.
Thank you.
It was really wonderful.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear. I was very nervous about it, but
You didn't seem nervous at all.
thank you. Thank you so much.
You're gonna find 3 people to take your place?
I'm so sorry, I don't understand this.
To replace who wants to be
Don't
the
worry
school
about
board liaison, because
Oh.
you've done such an excellent job.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Oh, that's actually very touching. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions, comments, issues, concerns, anything of the sort?
No,
No?
no, grateful for you sharing with us. Even
Thank
last,
you.
last month was a lot. You gave us a lot to chew on
was.
last month.
was.
Appreciate your thoroughness, though.
Thank you.
To us, so.
I'm glad to report no issues to report as of this one, so that's a good thing.
That's good.
Let's keep that going.
Was it a short month? Okay, well, thanks, Ruth. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
so much, Ruth.
Wonderful. All right, donations that were received in the past month, $1,800 in donations that will be on the consent agenda, and we'll receive letters of thanks from the board. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes from our October meeting?
So moved.
We have a motion, Mr. Grove. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Bynum. Is there any comment? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no? Disordered. Mr. Grove, did you have opportunity to read bills
I
tonight?
have, and we're sitting right about 34%, right about where we're supposed to be.
First quarter, yeah. Good, thanks. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion, Mr. Boobin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. McCool. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no? Disordered. Dr. Grinsley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first report of the superintendent is actually from the school psychologist, Kathy Zare Rhodes, who's in attendance tonight to give the board her annual update about the bullying prevention activities that went on at the school that Ruth told us a little bit about.
She gave me a little head start.
She did. She covers everything. She knows it all.
All right, thank you again. This is a yearly event, it seems, and thanks so much for allowing me to share. So this year, our theme was One School, One Family. And we highlighted this theme in announcements that I gave to both schools to read in the morning. And some examples of those were, words are powerful. In our school family, we choose words that lift people up, not words that tear them down. Another, families support each other. Be the person who encourages someone else today. So that's, like I said, those are examples of some of the announcements that the students heard. We also asked, we also asked our school librarian at the elementary school, Amy Whalen, to read Carla's Sandwich aloud. And that book talks about differences. And then I provided links to read aloud books that teachers could share with their students in their classroom on the topic, and then also videos and other resources to teachers at both schools to share with their students. And you already heard about Start With Hello Week. So during the week of October 14 through 17, we participated in Start With Hello Week. And the idea there is to encourage students to reach out and include other students who may be feeling alone. So I'll talk about some of the activities that we did, as we've done in past years. On one day, students wore hello name badges as a way of greeting others in the hallway. Then another day, students learned how to say hello in different languages. As was mentioned earlier, peer mentors visited our elementary school, which is a big highlight for the kids. And they spent a good time down there, and so they were able to visit with a number of grade levels. And you could just see from the kids' faces, they just love talking to these older students. And then on one day, students and staff wore colorful wristbands, and you can see in some of the photos, they're a variety of colors, and the students and staff were encouraged to look for matching colors during the day and greet them with a high five or a hello. And then, I think those are the main activities that we did during that week. One of my favorites, as I mentioned last year as well, are the gratitude letters. So we asked our exploratory teachers at the elementary school, and also I left the high school students, high school staff did that as well. So we gave them a blank sheet and asked them to write a letter of gratitude to a trusted adult in the school. And when I looked them over, I noticed that it was very diverse. They wrote letters to classroom teachers, exploratory teachers, special ed teachers, classroom aides, mental health staff, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, custodians, principals, nurses, special ed, I already mentioned that one, SRO. I had to give Robbie a hard time because his pile was so thick. I needed a wheelbarrow to carry that. He's a favorite person at school. So, and they were heartfelt. There were a few, I'm going to read a few of these notes. This was written, I'm going to give you a few examples from the elementary school. One of these was written by a third grade student, and he wrote a letter to his pre-K classroom aide. And he said, "I'm grateful for you when I was in pre-K. You helped me when I was having trouble getting my can out of my book bag." He has a good memory. Another student wrote, "For a long time now, I viewed this school negative, but when I met you, I viewed it as positive." And when I shared that with the sixth grade teacher, she was very appreciative of hearing that note. And then at the high school, one person wrote a gratitude letter to the lunch ladies, stating, "You always make food for us, even when you're tired. It means a lot to us, even if we don't show it." Another stated, "Thank you for helping me come out of my shell. Every day with you is always an adventure." And then there was another letter to a classroom aide. It said, "Thank you for helping me when I need help in school. I'm so thankful for all you do for us, and you are a great lunch monitor. Thank you for all your support." Another at the high school wrote, "I like your teaching style. I've learned so much. I love how hands-on everything is. Thank you for being such a good teacher." And that's just a brief sample of the many, many letters of gratitude that were distributed to the staff in our building. And as was mentioned earlier, we celebrated Unity Day, and the theme for this is showing support for kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. So you can see some happy kids wearing orange. And as usual, we held a Spirit Week with the theme One School, One Family. And some of the new ones we added in this time covering that theme are School Family Switch Day. Students dress like teachers and teachers dress like students. And another was Family Generations Day. Dress as a parent, grandparent, teen, or baby. I didn't see any babies. And then I want to share some of the posters from our poster contest at the elementary school. We had 23 posters, and I think all of them were completed by a group of students. So they worked together to make those, which was one of my goals. And some of the topics or the messages you can see here are: treat others how you want to be treated, be kind, be a buddy, don't bully. And the next slide shows a few more. The ones, a little hard to read, the ones on the left and the right have to do with appreciating differences. And then the next slide shows on the left there are two pictures, one above the other, and the top picture is a representation of our elementary school. And it says, "We are all a family at Rappahannock." And the bottom one I like because it says, Don't Root for Bullying, and it has a radish and a potato and it's and a vegetable. So I thought that was creative.
Was that part of the tape?
And then at the high school, we had some art students make some posters that they displayed in the cafeteria. So at the top, you can see a banner, and it's a little difficult to see, but in the middle, there are a number of people holding hands together. And the one on the left says, "Stand up for others," and it has lots of other messages as well. And then the one in the middle with the flowers around it says, "Your mind is a garden, your thoughts are the seeds. Will you grow flowers or will you grow weeds?" And the one on the right is the Pillsbury Doughboy, I believe, and it says, "Do not bully, be a role model." So I guess you call those dad jokes. So the Pride Clubs this year will be starting second semester and at the high school, and the goal is for each student to belong to a club to strengthen relationships among peers and staff. And just to remind you, PRIDE stands for Positive Relationships Inspire a Drive for Excellence. And that's what I had to share this evening.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Thanks, Kath.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for all you do. It's
Yep,
been awesome.
thank you.
All right, the next report is going to be our dual enrollment update. As you recall, last month, we had a little bit of discussion about some of the changes with dual enrollment, and that has been worked on quite a bit by Mrs. Karen Ellis and Jody Place at the high school, so you both can come up if you'd like to talk about some of these shifts and what has been done to try to clarify things.
Let me fix my mic here. Let's take it on you.
Oh.
Hi, good evening. I want to thank the board for giving us the opportunity to present tonight. And I'm Karen Ellis, and
I'm Jody Place.
when I got up, she said, "Do I have to come with you?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I'm going to hand out a document. It is on board docs, but I went ahead and made some copies too. You're very welcome. There you
Okay,
go. Okay. And you got it. Oh, thank you. All right.
no more paper.
True. All right, so Dr. Grimsley asked us to kind of talk a little bit about dual enrollment tonight and some of the changes. Actually, there's been quite a few changes that have come down the pike our way from the governor's office. A lot of those changes occurred really over the summer, and as we started school, there were still some things that were in play with Laurel Ridge and who we partner with. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about like cost and no cost, because that is new this fall for us and for Laurel Ridge and for our students. And anytime there's questions or misconceptions, we definitely want to clear those up and talk about, what's true and what's accurate. So Governor Youngkin, through state funding, I think it was like $35 million in our state budget. With that came a requirement that dual enrollment courses, specifically through our passport and our universal, help me out, certificate, is that what we call it, UCGS,
Yes.
that those would be at no cost to students. And so Laurel Ridge, other community colleges were kind of scrambling when school started to kind of see what that looked like and how that was feasible for them. So basically, we have a universal certificate, or students it's either a 16 or a 31 credit option. So the 16 credit, we call that our passport option, and there are 16 transferable dual enrollment credits that can be transferred into a Virginia university. And then the universal certificate, students earn that by 31 credits, and then those are transferred into a Virginia university. So when Laurel Ridge, when we first kind of figured out about how we were going to meet these requirements, we have a pathway. And so in those pathways, we offered students dual enrollment courses at no cost. Most of them in-house. So if you take a look at the document that I handed out, and Jody, you jump in at any time, because it's a lot. So most of these courses, we have dual enrollment instructors, and you have to have a master's in your content and be approved. So a lot of these courses, we are lucky enough to be able to offer in-house on campus. And then what Laurel Ridge has done is to make that no-cost mandate work, or requirement work, is any course that we cannot offer for universal certificate or the passport, Laurel Ridge will offer, but they kind of dictate or tell us what class they're gonna offer. So it'll be offered virtually, but that's the class that's offered at no cost. So while it's a benefit because now it's at no cost, there was some constraints put on what students could take in those prescribed pathways. So for instance, like art appreciation, we offer that in-house, and that covers one of the 7 blocks that a student would need to cover to get their universal certificate. So they have certain classes they have to take from each block. So some blocks it'll tell you to take 6 credits, some 3 credit class. So art appreciation was one from block 2, I believe it's block 2.
Yes.
So Jody knows this in and out as better than I do. But we were able to offer that in-house. So students would have to take that class to satisfy one of those requirements at no cost. If they wanted to take another class for that block, then they would have to do that virtually at cost. So that's kind of the difference between the no cost and the cost. If we can offer it, it's at no cost. If we can't offer it, then Laurel Ridge tells us this is the class we will offer for that block virtually at no cost. So for instance, that geology class you see about halfway down, that class is the class that will satisfy that block. And I don't remember which number it is, but that class is satisfied. Students that take that class do not have to pay. However, if they wanted to take another class that would satisfy that block, it would be at cost to them. So that's the difference between the cost and the no-cost option. Did I explain that part
Yes.
correctly?
Are these classes offered just during 4th block of our day? Is that what you mean by?
No.
They're like other classes where they're offered,
Yes.
they're not at a specific
Right,
time.
for the UCGS, they call them, there's 7 blocks,
But they're
different
not
than
related
our
to our
actual blocks
okay.
of time. So it's basically 7 different areas that they're getting classes in to meet the requirements for that particular certificate.
So yeah, that gets confusing. The blocks have nothing to do with our block
Yeah,
schedule. So
exactly.
there are
That's what
I
they
think
call
they do,
them,
but-
right, that's what they call them, but there's
Yeah, it's a-
7
it's a-
different.
7 different
It's like
required blocks,
categories.
categories, thank you, but they call them blocks. So for instance, block 1, to satisfy that, our students take dual enrollment English 111 and 112. And they get a high school credit, they get 6 college credits, because in one semester we double up with both those courses. For block 2, there is some choice there, but the one we offer is dual enrollment art appreciation. But if you were to look on Laurel Ridge's program of studies or their pathways for UCGS, there are actually a whole list of courses that could satisfy that block. But the one we're offering is art appreciation. And then if you go down to like block 4 to satisfy that, we don't offer anything in-house that would cover that. So Laurel Ridge has said, we'll offer dual enrollment geology at no cost. Now, if a student wanted to take it, they could take it at cost, or they could pay and take it to satisfy that block. But Laurel Ridge is offering the geology at no cost. That was how it was feasible for them to be able to meet this requirement. So that's the cost and no cost kind of clearing that issue. That really had no bearing on transcripts and how we count GPA and how we count what's for credit at the high school level. We did a transcript review this year. It's the first one we've ever done, but I was kind of new in my new role. And Jody has created this wonderful senior spreadsheet because there's all these details you gotta keep track of. So tell them about some of the details in the spreadsheet.
It's amazing.
Because it's amazing.
It just essentially, for those parties who have sort of different pieces of information, it gives us one place to go to make sure that all of our students have everything they need to qualify for graduation. So that's whether it's a sequential elective, their credential, the courses within each content area, the number of credits, their verified credits are on there. For the UCGS students, we make sure we have those 7 blocks. We make sure they're getting the classes they need in each of those, if that's what they're pursuing. We look at their, it's got many tabs, but
If they're a completer.
if they're a completer, and looking forward for data that we need to give to the state ultimately, like in the next summer when we have to look at who did complete certain programs. So that was created so that again, we can make sure we have checks and balances for each and every student to ensure that everything they need to get done, we are ready to provide that, and they're ready for graduation.
And she has this set up so that it's ready to roll for the next
Yeah.
year's group and the next year's group, so that we can be planning ahead and not, come to the end or the senior year and you're kind of scrambling like, oh, what about this piece, because there are so many pieces, and they were kind of housed in different areas. And so some people had knowledge of some pieces and some of the other, but we all needed to. So the spreadsheet was a great idea at the beginning of the year, and then that sparked conversation about, reviewing transcripts and making sure things are accurate, because there are a lot of pieces to that. So in September, we did a transcript review, which is a process that we will continue every year. And so we took the senior transcripts, because obviously they're a priority right now, but we'll work our way down. And we just went through and checked every senior's transcript. And so where we came into discussion was, there are a couple areas where students are taking classes, not many, just a handful, but they're not part of a program that we have a partnership with Laurel Ridge for. So for instance, we have the Future Educators Academy, which is actually a partnership with Germanna/Laurel Ridge, but I won't get into that tonight. And that is a very scripted program. Students have to take these certain classes, and some of them don't count for high school graduation, but they will leave with their associates in education. Our first cohort will happen this year, 3 students, and next year 4, at no cost to them. But some of those classes don't go on the high school transcript because they're not part of the high school graduation program. So we did not change any kind of policy or change anything that we have been doing or should be doing. So at the bottom, I just copied this out of our program of studies, and it just talks about currently enrolled students who wish to take courses not offered at RCHS in locations other than the high school, the kind of the process for how they do that. And the first step is to get approval, but it also says that elective coursework, unless it meets a graduation need, so if a student needed an elective still, but in their senior year, they really don't, because they need 22 or 26 credits to graduate, and on a block schedule, they're already gonna have 24 going into their senior year, probably just needing like English and government, maybe a math or something here or there. So it talks about, unless it meets a graduation need or eligibility for the Universal Certificate of General Studies, it will not be added to the scholastic record. And then of course it talks about being in consultation with your counselor and your principal before taking those classes. So we have a few students who are done with their graduation requirements, but they kind of know the field they want to go into. So they have taken maybe a Laurel Ridge class. For one student, it might be for nursing. I know we have like a vet person, something for vet school, but they want to do that. And that's fine, but that's not a class that we offer in our program of studies. That's not a class that we're in partnership with Laurel Ridge for. So those students, with principal approval and some counseling, those students are able to pay for those courses, because we certainly want to help students with whatever their next step is. But those courses, according to our program of studies, they should not be part of the student's scholastic record. Now, with that being said, we felt like there were some issues with clarity with this. I think this could be updated. I think it needs a little more clarity. I think, so we have since also have started a program of studies committee, and I have 5 parents serving as representatives, 1 for each grade level. And so, at the high school level. So part of that is making sure our program of studies is clear, putting in some language about how things are counted for students and what goes on the transcript and what doesn't. And with that being said, we decided as a transcript during our review process that we did not want to penalize any student as far as if they needed 3 classes to still play sports, or because maybe the verbiage wasn't as clear as it could have been. So we have opted to still put it on the transcript, give them credit, but count it in their GPA, but those particular classes don't count toward class rank because they're not part of our high school program. Now, moving forward next year, I think this language should be clearer so that everybody's on the same page. But that's where we opted. So we actually did not want to punish or penalize students because they weren't real sure how that class was going to work in their schedule and what that really meant for them. So we opted to go that route. And then as we have students that want to take classes above the high school requirements or for the universal certificate above those requirements, then we can be very clear about what that means for your high school transcript and your high school record. Any questions about that? Because it's a lot and we have to grapple with these things too, but we also have to look at it through an equity lens and what is it that is high school related, or what is it that we have a partnership with Laurel Ridge for, and what is above and beyond that a student might very much be interested in doing, but we want to be sure that they understand how that impacts their scholastic record.
And just to clarify, like when someone applies in the Common App, you can list Laurel Ridge Community College or Germanna Community College or wherever else you've taken a class and have all the recognitions.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Those students will have that transcript sent.
So it's not like disappeared, it's just not on.
No,
this
and
school.
so that paints a picture for a school, a university that, you know, when I was done with my high school requirements, and I really wanted to pursue this, so I did this on my own.
Yeah.
And we will help students in any way possible to kind of paint that, or, you know, shape that path. But we also felt like for this year, we weren't, maybe it wasn't as clear as it could be. The language needed to be clearer. So we didn't want to punish or penalize anyone.
So this year it will show on the high school.
We put it on the high school
And you're gonna
transcript.
code it in such a way that it's not part of a credit, is that right?
Well, it'll be, I guess it could be considered an elective credit, which they have more than enough.
Right.
And we even included it in the GPA part, but we have a way that we can exclude that from class rank so that we keep
The
it
next year it
equitable.
will not be included in the,
That's correct, and what I would say is that will come before our Program of Studies Committee. We want parent feedback, we want to make sure that it's transparent, and then our timeline is to present you with the program of study at the February meeting, so that you can see all changes that were made and give some feedback as well.
We just had our first meeting as a committee with our parents, already had some great questions in starting that process, and then we'd like to go through that. We then take that back. We also have an opportunity for students, as part of our student advisory, to give feedback, our building leadership to give feedback, which that was consistent with what we did last year as well in getting those groups. So lots of different opportunities before it gets to you all, and what we hope will be a very good forum to have lots of input and questions and so that it is clear.
And the parents, our parents at the meeting last week, they were great. Just the little bit that we got into to start with on our first meeting, they were already saying, well, what does this mean? Seemed clear to us, but as a parent, I could see where
Yeah, we don't.
that's not as clear as what we think because we live that world.
it's like acronyms.
So in the counseling process for students when they're selecting next year's classes, that should also be clear, like
Yes.
what is inside or outside of your
Yes.
general studies,
Exactly.
or where this class will be,
Yep.
will be.
And we did talk about that as well, even with that group, about the registration process and what that can look like. And we hope to have like kind of a program of studies event where we can have families and students come in so they can have some information given to them as we get closer to that in the early spring. We start that process. There could still be snow on the ground at that point, so I don't know how springy it'll be, but.
It might be beneficial to have a program of studies workshop with parents and students together,
Yeah, right, this is, it would be a
At
night, event at night
Yeah.
where they can come in as we get ready to launch into registration, so they can get lots of information, both parents and students, and look at different options, learn about different electives, because there are a lot of electives, and sometimes they don't know, like, is this the
Exactly.
right one for me? Trying to decide which levels of rigor they should go, should I do dual enrollment, should, in this, or, so, that's something we've discussed as putting in place this year also to help with communication.
And we did have a parent interest form, and then we also had a student interest form. We didn't get any takers that wanted to join us at 3:45. However, that's okay, because a lot of students are busy with after-school things. So we decided that the best way to get student input was to run that through the Student Advisory Council in January. So we're still gonna get that. We're just gonna do it on school time instead of after.
Go to the elementary school, they'll volunteer.
So you mentioned that this came, the rules change, basically. The governor said something, DOE says something, and then we have to have Jody's magic spreadsheet to track the new world, right? And so my first thought is, well, the rules could change again, right? And you need to be able to adapt to that and retrain that thinking. And the second I was thinking is every school district that's partnered with that's doing a DE partnership they have to have the same problem, right? So I think you should name Jody's magic spreadsheet
No, and I will
And-
say,
and mark it.
No,
Jody's
no.
So many people are asking
Anyway,
for it already.
I would
it's
imagine-
definitely been something that over just my time in
Copyright.
education.
Well, I just think
Yes.
it's
I can't
bound
take
to
credit.
be,
I made
it's
this
bound to be a
blueprint.
common problem, and
Yes.
our benefit is it's much smaller, easier to understand probably than maybe some of the bigger
Mm-hmm.
ones, but.
Well, the benefit is that also with different cohorts, you know, sometimes things happen, it's like, this is going to affect our ninth grade students forward. So when you have the spreadsheets also, because you have to sometimes tailor them for, again, when
the
test
changes
scores
come.
change or
Yeah.
things like that, that we just have to kind of tailor, again, to keep up with that cohort of students. So this is just a way, when we are trying to keep up with different,
All right.
sometime measures for different groups, because it has been adjusted.
That's how you track it.
Um, Just again, to make sure that we don't have any students inadvertently fall through the cracks, and have more eyes on it of experts in different areas that have information.
Well, thanks for your work.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you very much, not just as a school board member, but as a parent of a senior and one of your 3 senior parents sitting here tonight. This has never been explained to me this way, and this is very, very helpful.
Okay.
So, in going forward, since I'm also a parent of a sophomore, this will be very helpful to know these things.
And the
So,
training session.
your work is very much appreciated
It is.
across the board.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, our next item, 4.3, I'm going to invite Dr. Bolt. That's fitting with the electricity thing. But before we start, you may have known that we did have a little bit of a facilities issue today and last week regarding electricity.
Yeah.
And I did want to recognize that Jeff from Rappahannock Electric came out to our meeting to be here in solidarity and support and maybe
Answer some
answer some
questions.
questions for us. So
Brave
we
man.
might want to just start with that.
That's what I was-
Do you want to explain a little bit about what happened?
So on Friday, apparently there was a fire somewhere across the road. We came in with partial power. It affected our water treatment. And so we couldn't keep our water pressure up, and we had to close early because we have 600 people in that building, and they have to be able to use the facilities and have potable water. So we closed at 1 on Friday, wasn't it? Yes. And then today, and I'm not 100% sure, but the issue was a transformer fire over in front of CCLC, which brought in partial power again. But this was a little different because at the school board office where we have a generator and a heavy-duty surge protector, it blew the surge protector. So the power came in super strong. So again, we had trouble at the elementary school with the water in the boiler. We were able to get the boiler back up. The water, eventually, we were able to get it back up. But right before I came over here, I was meeting Country Water because something was rattling and making crazy noises, which has been fixed, so we're good for tomorrow, as long as our power holds. So all operations, but it's been an interesting couple of days, to say the least. But I had a moment to speak with Jeff and showed concerns that we've had, and so I'm gonna let him come up and tell what the plan is from here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Not used to being mic'd up. Hi, I'm Jeff Henry. I'm REC's Director of Member Services and Community Relations. And basically, what I understand happened today is that we have a piece of equipment that protects in cases of over voltage. It's called a crowbar arrestor. So if there's some kind of over voltage event, lightning strike, transformer fire, that is supposed to sort of redirect it so it doesn't cause serious issues. That equipment failed. So there's 2 points of failure here. There's that crowbar arrestor, and then also there's a recloser, so that if there's a power issue, it just shuts everything off. That recloser did not function as intended, which means we had one phase of power still going into your service. So obviously that causes tremendous issues. We have 2 of our experienced linemen patrolling everything tomorrow. We're gonna go from the substation to the point of service and just look at every piece of equipment that we can to see if we can address this going forward.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we had, I don't know if y'all did, but down in Harris Hollow, we had a lot of on and off today.
On and off and on and off.
Yeah, on and off and on and off, and surges, you can tell.
The problem with the commercial is the three-phase.
Yeah.
It really messes equipment up.
This is
Yeah.
much more complex.
Yes.
But in the
Yeah.
last, I wanna say the last year and a half or so is when we started noticing
Right.
some of these
And
issues.
we've made phone calls,
And-
sorry Jeff, I didn't get to you,
Yeah.
to say we're having these issues.
Get his cell phone number?
Yes.
Thank you.
But just to give you an extent of the damage so far, and that's not including the last couple of days, we've put in $130,000 worth of claims from things that have been burnt up in electricity,
Yes,
you know,
it is
so it's,
addressed.
yeah. So it is a big issue and it takes time. I know even our poor Gail in her office, the check printing machine that we just replaced, got it set up and fried again today. And it's all surge protected. So these things, you know, not only cause disruption in you know, those types of operations too, but then when you can't hold school, it disrupts 1,000 families, you know, instantly.
Yeah.
So we really do, I appreciate it. Robin and I drafted a letter to the county administrator today and said something's gotta give. He got in touch with Jeff, who said, I will be there. And I'm like, thank you, because somebody's gonna help us here, so.
That's right, we definitely take it seriously. I'm sorry I don't have all the answers today, but I'm gonna meet with those linemen tomorrow when they're done looking at everything, and I'll report to both of you and Mr. Curry as well with what we find.
I'm sure this weather hadn't helped you any.
I mean, there's always weather.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, we thank you for coming tonight and
He's a
reporting
great
out.
man.
Yeah.
Very great man.
I appreciate you doing it. It's
Makes
good
me
to
feel
move
better.
and looking forward to a report. And don't think that that you're trapped in your chair. You have a long way to get home. So have a safe trip and
Watch
thanks
for
for coming.
deer.
Watch for deer and thanks for coming.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Jeff.
Thank you.
And when we have that report, we can share it with our families.
Absolutely.
You can write your number on the back of the stand. I'm getting his number now. I'm not taking a chance.
Okay.
All right, Robin, I'll pull up your real presentation for tonight. We just had to get a little improv going.
It was, good timing though, we were able to pull together. Thank you. Facilities is always interesting. I never know from day to day what it's gonna be. So I'm gonna start with CIP, which, as you know, was $35,000. So with that $35,000, I was able to repair the septic tank at the lagoon, which had tree roots growing through it, and piping, and so it's working, well, it was till we lost another motor on our aerator for this last go-around. And that was $18,640, and then the plan was, thank you, sir, I appreciate it. The plan was to restart replacing elementary school doors, and like we did up here, for safety, for appearance. So I was able to get half of them done, which would be 16,500. So we traditionally put surplus equipment on the online auction. Well, this year, for some reason, our surplus electronics, someone really bid it up. And so we were able to get enough money to replace the fire alarm at the elementary. So that's funds that we are just recycling through the system.
Good.
Yeah, so our total is 52,610. We are getting a generator at the elementary school. The county got a grant because it's our secondary emergency shelter. So the 20% match is matched by the county. So that is scheduled to be installed in December. So that's a.
With surge protection on that as well.
Yes. And you'll notice the high school is not having these issues. They have that whole school generator. And so when it gets that partial power, it cuts over to the generator.
It's gonna have a transfer switch down there too.
Yes, it's an automatic transfer. Yes, sir. So I'm excited. So the big topic is the roof. It's estimated $685,748 for a metal roof. And because it is a secondary shelter, we have to finish the first grant, which hopefully will be done in January, and before we can start the next one. And it was looking pretty positive that we might get this grant, and it's a 20% match. So I'm fingers crossed. From what I've heard, Shannon, you agree? It's looking
really
very,
good.
it's looking very hopeful, which would be
A hardened metal roof for the elementary.
Yes, that would similar to the roof on this.
Yes.
So, fingers crossed.
Is that through the state?
Be done.
Mhm. All right, so, as sure you remember, because I do, about different boilers having issues and lovely social media and, some's true, some's not, but, you know, what are you gonna do? So, the county, Gary Curry and I got together, and they actually hired an engineer to come in and do an assessment of all our HVAC equipment. And I believe Shannon, Dr. Grimsley, uploaded the assessment so that you can read it at your pleasure. So he came in and looked at all the equipment. I had our representative from Titan come, our HVAC comprehensive company, to walk through with them and discuss what the problems were, what they saw, so that they would work together. I went with them, but of course, I'm no HVAC, I'm getting better at HVAC because I have to deal with it, but I'm no specialist. So I'm gonna briefly go through the priorities, priority 1, priority 2, because I told him to rank them, so we'll see what the greatest needs are and work down. So I'd already mentioned this, the water source heat pumps at the primary wing need to be replaced, they're 25 years old. The geothermal, the indoor units and the pumps need to be replaced, they're 25 years old. The rooftop units on the cafeteria gym and, what's the both, cafeteria and the gym. And then our fresh air intake for the wing. It is working. And this is where they had, the engineer and the HVAC person had disagreements of what should happen. And so we're leaving what the engineer said for now until we get into it, until we get the money to do it. But, so it's roughly 125, the high school locker room, and then the elementary school server room. So total, it's $1,307,500 for priority 1s. Priority 2s, thanks, Shannon.
Sorry.
The high school boilers, the cafeteria, our office, which I wouldn't put that as a priority 2 because it seems to be working well, and then the elementary school pump controls. We don't have control systems to be able to regulate, and it's not as efficient, and that's $655,000 for priority 2. Priority 3 is the oxygen. I don't know if anybody's been on I'm sure you've all been on the other side of that oxygen, that huge unit there. So it's $300,000 for that. Putting controls on our barred units so that we can set the timer and set the occupant and it's not manually go in, our teachers don't mess with it and that type of thing. The areas in the offices, each office has its own little mini split. And their idea is to place it with one unit to do all the main offices at the elementary. The hood system at the elementary school, because of the makeup air, it's pulling too much air out when they turn it on. The library, that was another debate they had of where it should be on the priorities. The high school wrestling room, it has heat but no AC. And then the high school weight room needs a new unit. And so we're at $685,000 for that. Yep. And then priority 4,
Oh, wait, there's more.
There's
Those are the
more.
ones that are gonna be breaking.
is the chemistry lab, the auditorium rooftop, the elementary school boilers. Those are things that we should just monitor, just to make sure we keep them in good working order. And I have to say, doing the comprehensive HVAC has helped a lot, because the preventative maintenance is done. It's much more cost effective for the company doing it to keep them working than to be called out here. So they really put forth the effort to service them, to change the filters, to change the belts, to do what needs to be done. Grand total is, oh, there's more no cost, that's just monitoring, is $2,727,500. Or $500. And the engineer figured a 6%, we might have to go a little higher on that because of what's happening in our world now, because of the fluctuation of tariffs. And so we're looking at just a little under $3 million. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And that's all based on it's this year estimates
Correct,
for out year
yes.
improvements, so it's not realistic. It's
Well, I would say you add at least 10-15% to this.
It won't be cheaper, you can bet on
It
that.
will never be
It's not
cheaper.
gonna get cheaper.
So when we see priority 1, 2, and 3, is that like
Priority
this year,
1,
next year?
well,
Like, is it just
I
as
don't
soon
even
as
think
we
what,
can?
for these costs, I don't even think it's gonna have to be grants, it's gonna have to be a bond
Yeah.
through the county. You know, I don't know what the grand scheme is, but I know Mr. Curry is very interested. They actually paid to have the engineer come out to see what needs to be done to get the priorities. So that makes me hopeful that we're working together to solve this problem. Now, Dr. Grimsley and I met with Schneider Electric,
That was interesting.
and just because it came up and we're in the middle of this, that it's something that we were willing to take a look at, and we would like you all to take a look at. So that's the segue.
Appreciate it.
Do y'all have any questions? I'm sorry. I know, I'm just happiness right here today.
Yeah.
All right, Abby, you wanna come on up?
Thanks. I appreciate the introduction. Thank you all so much for having me tonight. My name, like I said, is Abby Weigel, and I represent Schneider Electric. I'm a program manager where I specifically work with K-12 public schools and municipalities to both develop projects that design and install impactful, comprehensive solutions for you all. So specifically talking about some of the work in the facility study that you all did in conjunction with energy savings opportunities is what I'm here to speak to you all about tonight. So most recently we performed, move this a little bit higher, a utility analysis on your 2 schools. And so I'll be recapping the results of that before going into a little bit about the HVAC study that was just discussed. And then I'll talk to you all about kind of how we leverage the 2 together to put together projects that balance your, you know, good.
Just tap it, tap it. Keep it on. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Sorry. No worries. Yeah, to put together projects that will balance kind of fiscal responsibility with your technical priorities that you need to accomplish in the next couple of years. So moving straight into the utility analysis, this first slide just gives a quick overview of some basic information as to how you're currently spending money and consuming your 2 main resources, which are electricity and fuel oil. And so the bar chart here on the left is broken down first by utility type, so electricity, then fuel oil, then combined. and then also further broken down by school. So the gray being elementary, yellow being high, blue being combined. So as you can see, pretty standard across the board. You're spending a little bit more at your high school than your elementary school, that being mostly derived by the size of the school and the additional uses that come with a high school versus an elementary school. Across the board, okay, I thought it cut out for a second. Across the board, you're using about 2 million kilowatt hours of electricity every year and around 22,000 gallons of fuel oil. About 80% of your utility costs are coming from your electricity, and combined you're spending about $290,000 on utilities. This is just basic information to share with you for frame of reference, but to make this a little bit more relevant and impactful for you all, we can go to the next slide where we've benchmarked this information for you. And so we use two different forms of benchmarking, the first being energy usage index. So this is a very commonly used measure in the Commonwealth as well as nationally to showcase efficiency and performance. This is basically just telling you, combining all your different resources into one, how are you using it consumption-wise across the square footage in your facilities. And so the key with this is the lower the number, the better. For the purposes of this presentation, we have benchmarked it with regional averages with schools of similar size and usage. And so as you can see, your elementary school is pretty close to the regional average, performing about 4 points above it. In comparison, however, your high school is about 20 points above the average, which means there's some room for improvement there. Overall, we typically see schools anywhere from the range of mid-30s to high 90s, so you guys are kind of in the middle of what we would see in the spectrum. Overall, pretty decent though. The other option is cost per square foot. So this is, instead of usage, benchmarking it by cost. And so what we did here was give some projections of where we think you could be based on the discussions we've had, the utility bills that we've seen, and then the HVAC report that we've overviewed. And so right now, you're about $155 per square foot at the elementary, about $231 at the high school, and we think we could see, a reduction to about $1.95 at the high school, $1.31 at the elementary, providing you substantial savings to reinvest into your facilities. So what this looks like in terms of putting it into a long-term position to reinvest into your facilities, through the model that Schneider Electric commonly uses, which is known as performance contracting, we have these bar charts to depict that model for you all. So on the left is your current state, and while we haven't currently, evaluated your operations and maintenance costs, we would eventually factor that in. So right now, we're just looking at that blue block, that's your energy costs. And our goal would be to find different ways to reduce your overall, payments to your utility providers by 15 to 25%. Typically the range that we're looking at is, anywhere from 10 to 40. And so 15 to 25 felt reasonable based on what we've seen and what we've heard from you all. From there, that bucket, that's the green column of guaranteed savings, would be the amount that we would guarantee on an annual basis you would see at the end of the day in a project that could be reinvested and used upfront to help pay for some of those more expensive technical priorities that were just discussed. And so what we do is we look at 15 to 20 year guarantees that kind of align with the useful expected life of the equipment we'd be installing, and provide you an opportunity to then go to the county and potentially request some debt to fund these projects up front. So just a different model of looking at how to do projects. With the 291,000 you guys currently consume, that would be $873 to $1.45 million in potential savings.
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years, yep. Any questions on that before we move forward? Okay, I don't want to jump too far into process as well, but just a quick note. The way that Schneider's future contracts work are we do no change order fixed price contracts with that savings guarantee attached, which basically means on an annual basis, we are coming back to you and showing you the savings, and if you're not realizing them, we do provide a check for the difference between the two. So there's a lot of financial, guarantees and comfort in the process that we endorse. To move into the HVAC study, I won't get too deep into this as Dr. Bolt just reviewed it for you all. But after looking at it with my team, the 4 main themes we saw consistently throughout that report were what you see in the bottom here. So the first being outdated equipment, you have a lot of systems that are at useful life or coming to useful life that, have some issues going on or will eventually incur issues and lead them to needing to be replaced. You have some areas that you've expressed interest in adding ventilation to, or just needing more fresh air intake, needing AC versus just heating. A lack of controls, you have a couple systems that are running 24/7, and just some areas that are decentralized that you'd like to be added into the system. And then a couple issues with your geothermal wells, just with your piping becoming corroded, and having some valve failures. So we would be able to, look into those a little bit more further for you. And so looking ahead, my purpose for being here beyond just sharing with you kind of the utility analysis that we did is to express an interest in continuing to investigate the opportunities to balance, energy savings measures with the scope that was just discussed. And so what our firm does for clients is we like to work with you all free of charge for complimentary audits to help you identify, is this the right project for us? And so what we do is called a business case audit. So this is where we're bringing technical resources on site to help design potential projects with potential savings options to showcase to you whether this is something you'd like to proceed with. So we did bring something called a letter of intent with us today, which we would ask for your, approval on in order to proceed. So I'll pass those out. This basically just states that we would be, requesting access to your facilities to tour with our technical staff, and in return you would see the report that we put together. So that is, at a nutshell, what we do. So I'd love any questions or feedback.
I recall historically that we have attempted to do something like this in the past, numerous times. And one thing that I recall is I thought anytime we're in an agreement like this, a multi-year agreement requires us to engage the supervisors.
It does.
So we have very little
Authority.
to enter into an agreement of any kind. And so we understand the proposal, I think, because we've seen similar things. It might be a decade ago, but it was painful to try to get people on board with the idea back then. And but I would say, looking back at it, we made a lot of improvements. We decided to do it ourselves, but I'm not sure they were, they were not the best long-term things, like the shingle roof, which I didn't think I would ever be talking about. And here I am talking about replacing the roof that we put on 20-some years ago. So yeah, it's interesting to review the data for sure. I'm just not sure where it goes from here. We'd have to re-engage the supervisors.
Yeah, so with this, so is there an off-ramp where we don't, where we wouldn't spend money if we don't like what comes out of the business case analysis? That's what I assume that you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the business case analysis is, a high-level summary of scope and savings attached together, just to showcase to you what a project would look like. We understand working with school districts and board of supervisors tangentially. And at the end of the business case audit, it's, if there's no interest in proceeding, we're happy to step away. But, obviously it has to be the right fit for you, and that's why we wanted to come in front of the board to make sure it's of interest.
No, it's appreciated.
Right, and we were talking about timeline too, Robin and I with Abby, and Gary Curry's been in the discussion throughout as well. Yes, we are historically, and we've shared this, that Rappahannock hasn't always been performance contracting, friendly. But with all of the huge expenses and capital projects coming up down the pike for this county, we thought it was very important to look at every avenue and give every option available while we're using sort of a dovetail approach to creating a comprehensive capital improvement plan together with the county. So if this offered an option to be able to take care of some of those, it might be the,
An
It might be.
and solution instead of this or that.
right,
type
right.
solution. Right.
And it would be perfect timing, in February is our joint Board of Supervisors School Board meeting, this might be a great, presentation to have as part of that.
It might be because
Mhm.
it's good to get it out there
Yeah.
from the professional at the
Mhm.
time of the joint event. You know, to educate everybody the same thing at the same time.
Mhm.
So that's I didn't see.
February.
It's in February?
Mhm. So on your budget calendar that you might approve tonight.
We might. I saw we were doing that again. I'm like, okay, we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
love
in
those.
February, yeah.
It's even sooner, actually.
I mean, there's a gravity in seeing how many different systems we have, and each one is expensive, each one is, it's like a quilt of, like a tattered quilt in some way.
It is.
But
Well, because it was all
that
done
I
in-
can't, I don't
It's
know
all
that
done
we
in
have,
It's a
I mean-
tattered quilt, that's a great.
I mean, I don't know that we have, I just can't imagine that that it could hurt to have this analysis, the
Oh,
beginning
no, no.
phase of it at all. Like, and I feel like it's sort of above, we've tried that, the approach you were talking about, and as you said,
Would give us a baseline anyway.
So, but what we end up with is, a hodgepodge
yeah,
of systems, and we only had this much money, so we went with the lower rated system, and within, a certain number of years, now it's failing, and it's costing us more, and we've been stuck in that loop for a long time. So I'm glad it's gonna be a comprehensive county approach, a
Yeah,
bond
we can do
that's
that.
gonna take care of, multiple things at one time.
That's the hope, and in the collaboration, yes.
Right.
How did you find each other?
Friend, it was actually a friend of mine, she was superintendent of Williamsburg, James City, and retired, and went to work for this company, and she just out of the blue called me one day and said, would you be interested? She hears me fussing about stuff, so,
Okay, so you know.
because we're in the same world, so we talk a lot about our schools and stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Well, Abby, maybe we'll see you in February. Would be
Sounds great.
good to keep it on the front.
Sounds good. I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Right. We have one more item in the superintendent reports. As you know by Virginia code, every odd year in November, you have to have a comprehensive plan review. I can bring this up. And every summer, the leadership team does go through each of the continuous school improvement plans, looks at the comprehensive plan and tracks progress on our goals. And that's how we develop the goals for each year as well, to make sure we're staying on track on the road to remarkable. A big piece that we had to consider this year was the new performance and support framework that was being crafted as we were basically building a plane in the air as we were flying. So we still do not have official results. We were told before the Thanksgiving break we should have the official results, but unofficial preliminary results haven't changed for us each time we look in, and both schools look to be scored very highly, with the high school being actually a distinguished school. So we've gone through those pieces last month, but that sort of sets the frame for we must be on the road, and the road has many bumps and potholes and pivots and all those things, but these are our priority areas: school community general wellness, recruitment retention, community engagement, civic responsibility, financial planning, career prep and workplace readiness, and content knowledge. So priority area 1, content knowledge, our goal there, our overarching goal, that we will provide an environment that enhances student academic growth for all students, and making sure all students are appropriately challenged and achieving at or above pre-pandemic levels according to 2018-19 data by the end of the school year 2024. We were heading that way. We did have a lot of changes from the state just as we were approaching that road sign, but so our focus area to continue on track with that is to continue our BTSS implementation, extending Lexia access to high school ELA courses, and strengthen small group instruction. We have new curriculum implementation, updated pacing guides, increased rigor and high yield teaching strategies to meet new state standards. And all these, I think, if you've read the continuous school improvement plans, you've seen that really laid out in all the objectives and action steps. Priority area 2, career prep and workplace readiness. This is a huge push right now with the 3 E's and readiness indicators in the new performance framework. And our overarching goal is here, aligning knowledge, skills, personal interests coupled with demonstrating productive workplace skills, qualities, behaviors to prepare them for opportunities in the 3 E's, employment, enrollment, and enlistment. So focused areas in area 2, right-sizing certifications to current course offerings, continue partnerships with RAPCE, Headwaters, Laurel Ridge, and anyone else who wants to partner with us to make sure our students have everything available for their next step. Preparing students for 3 E's through expanding authentic work experiences and internships. Publish and communicate CTE courses with credentials in new program of study and establish documentation systems for high-quality work-based learning. Have to give a huge shout out to Jody Place, also our CTE director, who created an incredible CTE program of studies as a parallel to our regular program of studies. That's very helpful as well. Financial planning. So continuing to support comprehensive planning priorities, leveraging a multitude of resources, facilitating community organization collaboration, advocacy efforts for equitable funding for small rural schools, and through seeking and writing successful grant applications as often as we can so that a remarkable education is funded to the maximum extent possible. So always making progress there, can never do enough though, the financial constraints are very real. So dual enrollment, innovation, explore, implement asynchronous adjunct model to expand course offerings that support teacher credentialing, technology integration, launching a digital literacy curriculum with AI integration, and maker spaces at both buildings, increasing transparency, conducting a comprehensive salary scale study and hiring practice review for non-instructional personnel, and publish public-facing job description documentation. So you've seen us make great strides there, and we did sign the contract last week to start our comprehensive salary scale study. State and local advocacy, we're continuing lobbying efforts locally and statewide regarding equitable school funding formulas, focusing on issues affecting small rural schools. Priority area 4, student community engagement, civic responsibility. RCPS will create an environment to cultivate a successful connection between students, families, and the community in order to produce more responsible, responsive, and life-ready citizens by graduation. So we have focus areas here as well: increase volunteer coordination, develop tracking forms, logging systems, explore additional opportunities for volunteering within the schools. Student engagement, implement explicit strategies for student engagement with walkthrough instructional rounds, monitoring, and professional learning with Center for Inspired Teaching. We're doing our second round of instructional rounds tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Increase parental engagement, it takes a village, emphasize importance of parents in the educational process, even more and more important with all of the new rules coming down. We need families with us. Recruitment and retention, we will recruit and retain a premier workforce dedicated to fostering educational excellence, continuous improvement, and a compassionate environment, making RCPS the institution of choice for students, parents, and employees. So our focus areas here, instructional rounds, implementing standard instructional process with Inspired Teaching, focused on student engagement. New teacher supports, expanding monthly structured support, including technology integration training. Enhanced professional development, ensuring professional development is responsive to instructional needs and beneficial in building professional capacity. Increased outreach efforts, expanding outreach for recruiting staff through connections with teacher prep programs and universities. School and community general wellness, maintaining emphasis on providing services that promote the academic, physical, mental, and emotional well-being of students, staff, and the community at large as measured by overall participation in wellness activities and programs. So focus areas here, the SABRE Screener launch, which is our universal social emotional screener for grades 2 through 12 with comprehensive training. Creating the supportive learning environment, again, that's Inspired, Center for Inspired Teaching is a big part of helping us do that. Also Tier 2 supports for adults and the Alongside app. And then private provider access, implementing private mental health provider access in local lease space through grant funding, and that's now open in the town of Little Washington. And that's an office building there. We have office space, and Youth for Tomorrow we have enough students now for 2 days a week already. So, and there could be more.
And they're transported there during school or they can come?
Yes,
Yeah.
during school and some other hours, but Youth for Tomorrow comes out 2 days a week, full
Yeah.
days. Yep. Mhm. So in a nutshell, that is our comprehensive plan update, always approaching, and the continuous improvement plan is never finished, because there's always a way to improve. So we will continue to on that road. This plan is till 2027. As we approach that deadline, we will have a comprehensive plan review and set up all those teams and look at all of the priority areas again and get teams going. You remember it was a really huge undertaking, very similar to our reopening plans and all those things we had to do to COVID. It reminds me of that, but it was really collaborative in coming up with the idea of where our CPS should be going. The Road to Remarkable is on our main page. You can scroll right down and see it there. So whenever somebody asks, why in the heck are they doing that? Well, this is why. This guides everything we do. The continuous school improvement plans are also linked here on board docs and also on our webpage. So you can see very specifically, drilled down to the nitty gritty, what each school is working on this year. Any questions?
Yeah, I had one. So there's a document, the spreadsheet that you have also posted.
Mm-hmm.
It is the progress.
Yes.
So it's dated 24-25. Is that just, is this last year's?
Right, so that's where we came currently to last year's main goals, but this is also focused on, focus for this year. I'm trying to bring this up. But that was a progress tracker tool that we're using to track our goals. Right?
Yeah, no, it's very helpful. I just was wondering if it's labeled properly, if it's been updated.
Yeah, it should be updated to 25, 26
Okay.
as it's current.
That's all.
Yep. But that is there as well, so you can see how they're being tracked in areas that the team thought to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not pulling up for me right now. But it is posted on board docs for you to review.
I'm
Yeah,
having some I'm having network trouble too. Just- It's not just you.
Okay.
I got a sign, network problems.
Network problem. Jeff, come
All
back.
right, okay, we'll blame it on Jeff.
Robin,
All right, and that concludes the
Are there any
items.
questions for, thanks for updating that. And
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's good to have this spreadsheet.
It was interesting, and we were meeting with 2 supervisors, 2 board members, county administrator, superintendent, CFO, having a chat, it was what, 2 weeks ago, I think? And there was some discussion about budget, of course, because we never talk about budget enough. And it was so comforting to get back to, well, we're gonna have to revisit the comprehensive plan. If this or this, we're gonna have to evaluate, because it's great for us to keep falling back and saying, we said as a district, these are our goals.
Yeah, yeah.
not to get
Right,
going.
and so, anyway, it was good to have a standard that we continue to keep updated and refer to. It's not an ambiguous set of goals by 5 spurious people sitting around a table, changing our minds constantly. Right. Anyway, thank you. Thanks, Shannon. Anything else? All right, move on. Report of headwaters representative.
I didn't get to meet, but we emailed, and I heard this from Amber Montgomery, who actually is stepping down as Headwaters, from Headwaters, and they're, I think maybe, would you want to announce the new interim? Can I yield some of my time to?
Yes.
What's up,
It's up to the chair, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Steph Ritter, and I'm in the Wakefield District, and a couple of things. So Amber resigned. We have Cole Johnson as our interim
Cole.
director, and hopefully a more permanent director is also. It's sad news on one hand and it's great news on the other, because Cole's,
Yeah, we know Cole.
as already been director of Headwaters,
Good
and
choice.
it is a great fundraiser and community activist, so we're totally excited about
Yeah, it's great.
having her. And as long as I'm up here, I've had a number of people ask me when they can go down and lobby for the schools. Whenever
Yeah.
whenever you need it, just let me know and I'll
Okay.
put the word out.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad, but good news.
Yeah,
One other thing, I'm wondering if we could do something with the school that would double as at least one courtroom, so that we could get some of the money for the.
Good idea.
Hey, thinking outside the
How
box.
about right here?
Thanks, Jeff.
Government and civics, hands-on learning. What do you think?
So, yeah, we can make it a whole course of study.
Hey, I think we're onto something.
that is outside.
Hey.
But so Headwaters programming is going on, and the after-school students took a field trip to the high school to cheer on the middle school girls volleyball team for the last game last week. And then last Wednesday, I came to after school along with Kyle Wenzel, and we replanted the pollinator
I saw
garden.
that, yeah.
And we had, we had some really great donations from George Mosbrook of Morningside Nursery, and they're making amazing progress in there. It was really fun to see the progress in the courtyard and the other places, and the kids had a great time. So it was really wonderful. Great, thank you Headwaters for spending that position. And then there's a new program called the Time Travelers Club, and they're starting to receive names and contact information from friends from Rap at Home to pair with after school and read students to have older and younger community members learn about the past time travel.
Cool.
It's a great name too. And Headwaters also participated in the annual trunk or treat on Halloween, and it was fun. It was cute and fun. So, that's what we have.
They are a great partner.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing.
All right, NBGS?
We did not meet, but we will meet this Thursday.
All right, we have a budget calendar that has been provided to us, which we will be voting on during action items. Hopefully we'll have a chance to review that, update our calendars. I would say that process has already started for anybody that wants to know how that
Never
works.
stops.
Never stops. Shannon has put out her notice to the staff and faculty about requirements, and we've had our first touch base with some supervisors to have a conversation and see, what they think's coming on the horizon, and just can't get enough of that. So, budget calendar, which we'll be voting on. Is there any questions for the superintendent about that this time? Look good to me. This policy that was listed is a correction for something that was missing. Very unusual for us to just have a policy presented and vote on it at the very same meeting, but that's what we're basically planning to do unless there's an objection from a board member about that policy. It's related to homeschool and religious exemption, how it's managed in the law, and it needs to be lined up with the law. So it's a gap problem, which is why we're acting on it so quickly. All right. All right, moving on to public comment. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board this evening? Anybody? Very quiet. I'm going to keep moving. No? Hey, I would like to welcome a new board member.
Yeah, let's do that.
He's over here now.
Hiding in the back like
Welcome,
that.
it's okay. Not much longer will you be hiding in the back. And it's wonderful to have you along. Also, Ms. Bynum is signed up for another 4-year. Anyway, welcome. Congratulations, condolences at the same time. Crazy.
It's all good.
Joint board meeting means babysitters.
Yes, every night.
Yeah, babysitters, right?
Give us something to talk about.
Her kids are old enough now.
Give you something to talk about, right. But welcome. All right, moving on to action items then, is there a motion to approve the budget calendar?
So moved.
We have a motion, Mr. Groves, or second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Rubin. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So ordered. Is there a motion to adopt policy LBD revision?
So moved.
We have a motion from Mrs. McCool,
Second.
second from Ms. Bynum. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. And so ordered. New business. We have a school board conference coming up, November 20th, next week on Thursday, so we'll be attending that and bring you back all the news from Williamsburg, all the exciting things going on there. And I think we're, all four of us are going, right?
Yeah.
And are you gonna go? You gonna make it? Great.
She's got,
So we
we're
got,
bringing her around.
bring the newbie.
Taking her
Okay,
to-
great.
That's right.
And it should be a good time.
I do have one thing about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
My last legislative conference, or whatever they call that 2-hour
Punishment, yeah.
punishment, right?
Yeah.
If you guys would look at, there's a couple on here that are pretty important. Legislative proposal number 3.
Can you leave
And
me the doc?
you've got the document, it's in your email. They sent
Okay,
you the
all
whole
right,
thing.
okay.
3, 6, and 8 are 3 pretty important ones, and I know how I'd vote, but if you have any ideas or ways you want me to
Okay.
address it, just let me know.
Okay.
Well, I'm,
And maybe I'll.
One of them has to do, I'll tell you right away,
I'm the
is,
belly button, aren't I? Didn't we vote on me?
I think so.
I think I'm it.
You are.
I'm the primary.
oh, is that right?
Yep.
Are you going to it?
Yep.
Oh, then I don't have to do it anymore.
That's why I asked for the papers.
There you go. I don't remember, but I was supposed to have been gone that night.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I was that night.
Are you happy?
There you go. I'll be home before midnight. So you look at those though.
I will.
One of them has
I
to do with
appreciate you reading it for me.
absenteeism as being a way, not being part of the
Oh, good.
evaluation.
Oh.
Of the measurement criteria?
Yeah.
Good. Good to hear.
Oh, boy, that's great.
I did tell you that some of us had met, so I should just explain more of that and how that comes into being. So Missy and I and Keir and Debbie, Donahue, the chair, and Bonnie and Gary, the county administrator and right hand, and our CFO, Stacy Witt. Who else was there? You and Gary, right? That was the whole group. And so we basically kicked it off with, do you have any questions, any concerns, anything you need to know? And there wasn't much there. And we said, well, here's what we want to know. What are you thinking? Because we heard some pretty radical things. Like, hey, we're going to cut you $1 million or something like that, which is a lot for us. And so we ran a lot of that to ground, and by the end of the conversation, I thought we had a very good conversation, and hopefully we're not into a year of fisticuffs. I think it hopefully should be a pretty docile exchange this time, is my hope. We've had a number of very uncomfortable years of back and forth. But anyway, this particular year looks like it might have some promise of being civil and non-punitive, hopefully, is our hope. And there's also hope related to this rural schools money. So can you give any kind of update on that?
Yeah, sure, I'm happy to. So, a couple of different avenues that we're taking. We're continuing our lobbying efforts on the supplemental basic aid cap, because it's just so not fair. And we have to keep that, and we just have to be a squeaky wheel on that. We know we're not probably gonna be successful at all on it, but Delegate Weber has offered to carry that again and make sure we get it in front of the governor and maybe part of the outgoing budget, or we'll see. And also, which is great, is that COSARS, the Coalition of Small and Rural Schools, decided to make it a priority to address the small and rural economies of scale issue in the JLARC report by recommending to both sides of the aisle that that get moved from a long-term priority to short-term and maybe even be in a caboose or a beginning of the biennium budget year, so that could impact us immediately. That would impact, it started out as 44 school districts. They've added more by making the requirement up to school districts with up to 1,785 students. So it was under 1,000, but now it's raised a little bit to get a few more groups in there. So it's a big coalition, actually, that has that many. And it's a relatively small amount to the state. For Rappahannock, that would yield us about $1.2 million in extra state revenue. And that probably has a much better shot with so many districts on board. And it would be, it is now a priority area for COSARS, also VACO, and VAS is also going to take it up as a area of focus. So we have a good shot, so that's also where some lobbying efforts could be, but we do plan to throw everything we have at the supplemental basic aid cap, so anyone who wants to, go ahead and attack that one, that's okay. And maybe it'll be one of those, hey, look over here, well, this happens over here kind of thing too.
But we're not gonna get our hopes up this time.
No, we're gonna plan a budget as though nothing is coming, but you know.
But being a part of the larger group, much higher probability of success, and it's in perpetuity again, so that would be a wonderful surprise.
Yes.
So that's good news. Is there any other new business on the table? Is there any requests for future agenda items around the table?
Too late for a public comment.
You can, you know what, special privileges to the new board member?
I just have one question, because I know it's gonna come up in the community out here, and I don't know if you guys can address it or not, but I've heard it. What is our policy as we go forward to shut schools when something like this happens? Because I've heard a lot of, that's what the uproar that's going on right now about like today, for example, I don't know when the decision was made and stuff, but I got a call half an hour before it closed and an email 19 minutes before the kids were loaded on buses. So is that something we can, is that typical? Not usually. I don't think, like when we have a blizzard and stuff like that, usually it changes, but I know that's gonna be, if we have talking points, that would be great. You can give me some.
Yeah, so I don't mind addressing that at all. Usually our rule of thumb is try to give an hour notice. This time we had 45 minutes. We realized there was probably some delay with the electric stuff and certain people didn't get messages. Some got it right away. So I think there was a little bit of delay there, but it was sent out right about, because we said a 1 o'clock release. It was 12:15 when we made the call. So we gave 45 minutes, which is generally not normal, but none of the toilets were flushing and all these little kids with little bladders just had lunch. And you can't have a place open for much longer than that. So otherwise, health department does get involved and you have more issues. We can usually try to hold the line as much as we can with the porta potties. Friday when we did, we tried to hold it longer. We had 40 kindergartners come up to our central office and use the bathrooms, which was really fun. We get to see them. So I mean, we try to accommodate as best we can and try to give at least an hour if we can, if not more. Sometimes we.
And as far as talking points, is that something I know we're trying to increase our communication with the public and stuff like that, but like what that gentleman shared today with it not really being our issue, I mean, it really wasn't, but is there a way to put that into a short, concise form to let people know versus just us, you know, saying kind of stuff? Can we make a statement of some
That was
sort?
the idea, and that's why we wrote to the county and said, look, we need some answers too, because this is frustrating for all of us and all the families, and we're all parents too, that have to now try to manage everything. So we need answers, this can't happen, and that's why Jeff was here. So yes, we do plan on getting more answers and being sure we share those out publicly.
I don't think we knew Jeff's information until
I didn't know it until right before I walked out in the hallway.
I would say it was 6:25 when he got here. That's when we knew that. So.
And I haven't been on social media to see what's going on there, but, you know, and that's great to hear that we can get that kind of stuff out. Because I think the more we can communicate that kind of stuff, the more they understand we didn't just do it on purpose. And it's not something, you know, 2 times in 3 days, we didn't mean to, kind of thing. And I'm really excited to work with you guys too. Sorry, that wasn't a negative thing to come here.
Just get it out of your system. I'm just kidding.
For tonight, it's out.
All right. Hey. welcome. Welcome
Yeah, I
to
just
the
wanted
board.
to add that I had a great time at the polling place last week and got hung out with our new supervisor and people were going back and forth between. It was just I feel like the combination of just getting to know you in general and everybody was like, I'm gonna go talk to him about how much I support our schools and what an important part of this. It was really useful and good time and Ms. McCool came and joined me for a little while during that time, but it was a
Little school board
it was a good day, and it feels like there's, a sense of, we know that we're struggling to meet all of the county's needs, but I did feel like it was a moment of, real connection and not a desire to sort of ambush somebody with some kind of a problem. He was very, I really looking forward, we'll enjoy
Yeah.
working with Gary. People are supportive of the schools and see the good work we're doing, so. I know we have room for improvement too, and so, which is a lot of what this meeting is about, so. So we're not perfect, we're on the road, we're trying. Yeah.
All right, our next regularly scheduled board meeting is December the 9th, back in the same location. Is there a motion to go into closed session, Mr. Grove?
Yes, I move the board convene into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for the following purposes: to discuss and consider the appointment of staff for professional and classified positions, and discuss assignment, performance, and resignation of specific employees.
We have a motion, Mr. Groves, or second?
Sorry.
Second, Mr. Rubin, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. We're gonna be in closed session in another room, and we're gonna be there for a while. You may not wanna hang out. Thanks for coming, and if you're here, you'll find out how things went.